All right, we're finally back with the new and updated full course, start to finish, how to start and scale a house cleaning business that you don't have to do zero cleaning yourself in 2025. I made this video last year in 2024, included a lot. I've updated a few things that are working this year that weren't necessarily working last year. And so that being said, look no further. If you've been looking to start a cleaning business, or you want to grow your existing cleaning business or even home service business, then a lot of the stuff is going to apply. Stick around. This is going to be a long one. I'm going to reveal basically everything I know and everything that I've learned over the past decade now that I've helped not only myself and my business partner start our own cleaning businesses, but also 3,000 people. And I'm just going to give it away for you. There's going to be nothing held back. I'm going to give you everything I know, how to get customers, how to start the business, how to hire, everything. So let's get into it. All right, start to finish. I'll launch and scale a house cleaning business completely remotely from anywhere in the world. Now, preface, I'm going to cruise through setup pretty quickly here. These businesses are just relatively very easy to set up, so I don't have to spend a lot of time here. And I'll link you a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about too, the free trials, the freebies, all that kind of stuff. It should take you no longer than realistically a week, max 2 weeks to get everything set up. So I'm going to do my best to cut out all the fluff as well and just give you what you need to build a highly profitable house cleaning business, again, without having to eventually answer any phone calls and definitely not do any cleaning yourself. We'll start with business name and service area. Now, the cool thing about a remote cleaning business is you can start wherever you want, even areas you don't necessarily live in. However, I just recommend you pick where you live, as long as you don't live in some like ghost town, just because you're going to know the area a lot better. You're going to know the routes. You're going to be able to, when you're getting 3, 4, 5, 10 cleans a day, you're going to be able to route the jobs for the most efficient route because you know the area. That's harder to do if you don't live in the area. It's also easier to do test cleans, which we'll talk about later. And when you're thinking about your name, don't spend too much time unless you're trying to like franchise it, I guess. But I mean, if you're watching this, odds are you're probably just trying to, start a business, make some money. So all you got to do is like city name and cleaning. So like, for example, my first business was Orange Window Cleaning because we live in the city of Orange, right? And this also helped with SEO. As we started to build our reputation up, because we were Orange Window Cleaning, that helped us a lot. And so just to make a point as well, like one of the biggest house cleaning companies in the US is called The Cleaning Authority. Like that name is very ugly. It's not that great, to be quite honest with you. So just pick city name cleaning or neighborhood cleaning, something to do with the city to help you with SEO purposes. Once you come up with a name, which you don't even really need at the beginning, you're going to file your LLC. And you do not have to name your LLC the same thing as your business because you can open up a DBA, which means doing business as. So I could call my LLC Johnny's LLC, but my cleaning company can be Orange Window Cleaning. It could be Marietta Mop. It could be whatever name I pick. LLC's name is not necessarily what you have to name the business. Okay. I just highly recommend Taylor Brands. They're the most cost efficient. They're going to get it done very quick and get you the EIN. The whole goal here is get yourself the EIN. Now, this is your tax identification number, basically. This is going to allow you to open a business bank account. Now, at the beginning, you can use like Venmo and Zelle just to get some momentum going. But I like to keep my personal finances, my business finances separate. And, if you're going to start this, just commit to it. Start the business bank account. Start to build that up on the side. And it just makes for clean financials from the start. The whole goal here is let's build a solid foundation so that as we're building this building, right? If we're thinking of this company as a building, we're going to build it to 100 stories in one go, as opposed to like, hey, let's get to 50 stories, then have to build another 50-story building. It's like, no, we want to build it in one go, and you can only build a 100-story building. Great business if we build a really, really solid foundation. Okay. Now, once that's all taken care of, you basically need 5 key things when you're starting a cleaning business. You're going to need your website. You're going to need a phone system because you don't want to mix your personal phone number and a business phone number. It's going to be hard to discern like, hey, am I getting a personal call? Am I getting a work call? I don't know. It's also going to get really annoying. Trust me, I did this when we started Orange Window Cleaning and I never knew who was calling me. My phone would be blown up all the time. And then when we ended up hiring someone to answer the phone calls, it was very hard to get that set up. So just do this from day one. But you're going to need website, phone system, a CRM, a booking software, and insurance. I'll start with the first 3: CRM, phone system, website. Cleanworks.co. I highly recommend that. It's 14 days free. And it's basically a cleaning software that's going to follow up with your customers until the end of time and make sure that every lead you get from the time you start the business to five years later into the business is going to be followed up with until the end of time via text, automation, AI. And we're just going to make sure that everybody's being followed up with. So it's really important. It's also going to store all your customers' data. It's going to have really clean reporting, so you can track things like conversion to recurring. You can track your churn rate, etc. What's cool about CleanWorks is we actually own CleanWorks. And so when you sign up for CleanWorks specifically, if you sign up for either the middle plan or the highest plan, we'll throw in 30 days free for a website. And so we'll give you 14 days for free on CleanWorks as is, which is pretty cool. Just because I want you to get in, start the business, and then start to get going, get some momentum. And this will handle all of that for you, right? We've got all the pre-built automations in there. And it also includes the phone system because, again, you don't need a personal number. So check out CleanWorks. I'll put the link in there. And I'll also put in the description below if you want to just book a call with the team, learn more. Highly recommend. Book that call. We'll run you through how we set up CleanWorks, how we set up the website, and then how we can get your business started, where we're actually rolling up our sleeves and building the business with you one-on-one. It's pretty cool. We get insane amount of success through that program. Next is liability insurance. Now, what is general liability insurance? General liability insurance protects you and your business from general claims, basically involving bodily injuries, not the cleaners, and property damage, right? Almost every business has a need for general liability insurance. Even my completely remote consulting business, Home Service Academy, where everybody works remotely, we still need to have insurance, right? Even though everybody's working from home. Cleaning is especially important in, God forbid, a scenario where a cleaner steals something or something goes wrong with the cleaner. And yes, you're sending out cleaners that have their own insurance. However, you want to be covered in the case that anything happens. And you could get up to $1 million, $2 million a year general liability policy. Any of these websites right here, Hiscox, Foxquill, Thimble, Next, for anywhere from $40 to $80 a month. Now, obviously shop around, get the cheapest rate. It's all the same thing, right? So get the cheapest one you can get. You can also, if you have a local broker, highly recommend you do that too. I've seen some really, really good rates through local brokers if you have one. Top of this, why it's needed. You're going to need it to advertise on Google Local Service Ads, which is still working today. They're going to ask for proof so that you can advertise on their platform. If you're doing commercial jobs, it's required and asked for. So make sure you're aware that, I would say just get $1 million to start. If you need to bump it up to $2 million, commercial sometimes needs over $2 million. So, but you can start with $1 million, up to you. So you got your insurance. This is actually $40 to $80 a month. It's pretty consistently what we're seeing. So I'll go ahead and update that. Next is your CRM, or not really CRM. This should be actually booking software. I really like Allison. It's a new software on the market. And I've tested, we've helped over 3,000 people by this point started cleaning business. So I've tried every cleaning software you can think of. Allison night and day has the cleanest UI and the cleanest experience. It's at a great price point, $129 a month. And I've included the link to sign up. Check that out. It's very, very, very easy to use. And it even integrates with Zelle and Venmo. So as you're waiting for your business bank account to get up and running and get approved, you can just pay cleaners and pay yourself via Venmo and Zelle as a payment method that integrates into the software, which nobody else has that. Very, very cool stuff. So sign up for all those things. And once that's all taken care of, we move on to hiring your first cleaner. Now, again, we don't want to do any cleaning yourself. And if you're someone watching this who has a business and you're doing the work yourself, well, there's no need for you to do that. And if you just follow this process I'm going to run you through, you'll pull yourself out of the field. So providers, I'm going to call them providers. I'm going to call them cleaners. Just bear with me. Same thing. Now, providers are the lifeblood of the business. You cannot grow your revenue if you aren't growing your roster of cleaners. Think about this like a sports team, right? You should always be recruiting. We have two sayings, two ABCs, always be closing, always be recruiting. Okay. And just like a sports team, right? If you're full-time in business, your cleaners are your players on the field. And I highly, highly recommend, just as a best practice, do this from day one. Screen 10 or so cleaners a week. Now, if it comes out to 5, okay, fine, 5, but do it weekly, right? Because you got to have these interviews and you got to run, you have to interview these cleaners so that, you find the good ones, because so many of them are going to suck. Like 80-20 rule, right? 20% are going to be good, 80% are going to suck. It's your job to find the 20%. You don't want to be in a position where you feel like you need a cleaner to continue to take jobs, right? Because sometimes they're going to try to take advantage of you, right? By frequently calling out, doing a half-assed job. Maybe they're asking for more pay, or they're saying, oh no, I don't want to do that job because it's not perfect circumstances. You always want to have leverage, okay? And the way you have leverage is by having a big roster of cleaners. Oh, your quarterback one's giving you a hard time. He's being a little diva. Guess what? You put in quarterback two to make a sports reference, right? And so again, hiring every week negates all of that, right? Cleaners want to give you any shit, excuse my language, you can fire them and on to the next one. I know it sounds brutal, but it happens. I only say this because I've seen this happen plenty of times. Okay. Again, yeah, like I said, sounds brutal, but you're in the business of building, maintaining a 5-star reputation in your area. Okay. Unless you don't care about your reputation, you want to build a business that, has 3 stars or 2 stars on Google, then don't care, I guess. But that is the business you're in, right? Your reputation is everything in this business. And you only do this when you have good product. And in this case, your cleaners are your product. So good cleaners will also exponentially grow your recurring book of business. And I'm going to talk about more on this later, basically. But where do you find them? Okay. There's a lot of different ways. Indeed is my favorite. Reason I like Indeed is you just get them to come to you, right? And you control the frame of the conversation. So some people will tell you, go to local Facebook groups, go to local next door groups and say, hey, does anybody have a cleaner that you would recommend? And yes, well, this method works. It's like an outbound sale, basically. Like you're basically selling them on the fact like, hey, please come work for my cleaning business. Whereas Indeed is like, hey, I have a cleaning business. And if you want to apply, you can apply here. And I'm interviewing you. You know what I'm saying? So I just recommend start with Indeed. If you want to do the Facebook next door groups, by all means, they all work. But Indeed, in my opinion, just works the easiest because, you get 100 applicants, you start combing through them. Most are going to suck, but you'll find some good ones. And that being said, I included a job posting template in here too. This is the job posting template that we've used to hire, tens of thousands of cleaners, right, through Home Service Academy. So just copy and paste that on there, and it's going to help you out a ton. You're going to ask them questions, 3 things that you're looking for, right? Do they have their own transportation? Right? You don't want to be driving around picking them up. Do they have at least 1 year of cleaning experience, and do they have their own equipment? The reason I want all those things is obviously I don't want to send a newbie out to a job. Equipment, I don't want to come out of pocket to pay for things like cleaning equipment, because when they lose something or they break something, guess whose pocket it's going to come out of? It's going to come out of yours, and that affects your profit margins. So just make sure they have their own equipment. And then obviously you're not a bus driver, right? You don't want to be picking them up, dropping them off at a job, picking them back up, taking them back home. Like, make sure they have their I've seen it. I have to say it. So just make sure they have their own transportation. And you can also use care.com, housekeeper.com. Those work really well. I've seen Craigslist work as well. So any of those will work. But again, start with Indeed. And if you're having trouble, start to check out care.com and housekeeper.com, but just run the same process. You're going to hire cleaners at 40% and no more than 50%. What do I mean by this? If I do a cleaning job for, say, $200, if I do it for $200, I'm going to pay the cleaner at 40%, $80. If they're at 50%, $100. The reason I want to keep it no more than 50% because I always want at least 50% gross margins. Meaning after I pay my labor, which in this case is the cleaners, I want at least 50% of my revenue every time left over. Now, if I could pay them 40% and have 60% of my revenue left over after paying my labor, well, I'm in a very, very healthy position. But the moment you start to go under 50 and you start to pay your cleaner, say 55, 60%, and you're left with, 40, 45% as you're starting to spend money on ads, as you have your software costs, as you get someone in to answer the phone calls, right? A VA, you're going to have profitability problems. And this whole training is designed around keeping your margins at 30 to 40% net. And by fixing your cleaner cost at 40 and no more than 50% max, you basically ensure, as long as you do a good job at the other core things, that you're always going to be around that 30 to 40% net mark. Okay. Now, after you hire these people and you interview them and you say, hey, okay, you're good to go. You want to test, clean, and background check every cleaner. I use checker.com to background check. I think it's $30, $35 to check. You never know what's going to come up. Just do it. Like, don't skip it. After that, you're going to test clean them. What's a test clean? Test clean, never skip this either. Get a friend or a family member, and you're going to have them pretend to be a customer. You're going to pay the cleaner like they're a real customer as well, too. So the cleaner, you're going to say, hey, I got a job for you. Like, you want to take it. And they're not going to know this is a test. They're going to go service your friend or family member. Okay. But here's where it all comes together, and why we do this is because we want to test their character. We want to test if they're going to try to steal our customers, because remember, this is they're contractors. They're not employees. Right. So you have that risk built in of like, hey, what happens if, a cleaner shows up and they're like, hey, here's my card. I'll do it for cheaper. This is what we want to test for. So you're going to have that friend or family member ask, how can I book again? Now, this will show, again, your cleaner's character, and they're either going to tell their friend or family member, here's my card, here's my number, I'll do it for cheaper, or call the office and book through who you originally talked to. Now, if they do the whole, here's my card, I'll do it for cheaper, obviously you fire them. They just showed you their character day one. Like, you just saved yourself a ton of time and money and headache. On the flip side, if they say, hey, call the office, book through who you originally talked to, and they pass the background check and they've got their own insurance and everything's taken care of, and they're likely going to be good to go. You can start sending them to real jobs. And I have to say, Never skip a test clean, ever, 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 ever. Okay. So we got our cleaners. Okay. Boom. Now we have our cleaners. Now we need our leads. Okay. I'm going to break down marketing into a few different sections. We'll start with paid advertising. Now, Google local service ads. If you're somebody who's watching this to grow your existing business, well, you might see this and be like, oh my God, leads are expensive. Google local service ads doesn't work. Google local service ads is still a very viable option, and I would definitely test it in your area. Whether you have a current cleaning business or you're launching a new one, like just always test this. It's the lowest hanging fruit. It'll get you the best leads. It's the first thing that pops up under Google when you search service near me. So in this case, if someone searches house cleaners near me, it's going to show up right under that search bar. And so like you can't get any more high intent than that, right? It's going to look something like this. Like if I'm looking at house cleaning businesses near me to hire a house cleaner, I'm going to call Glenmo, or I'm going to call Kokoro, which is actually one of our clients, by the way. And I'm going to call them. And I'm probably going to buy because if they answer the phone, because I just need someone to clean my house, and I'm going to go with the first person that answers. Okay. So the setup process, it can be annoying still to this day, but it will send you leads. And so this is the setup process. You need insurance verification, which we got that covered. You need a background check. So if you do have any criminal record, you won't get approved. However, you can like use a friend or a family member to kind of like beat around it. You didn't hear that from me though, even though I'm posting this on YouTube and someone from Google can absolutely watch it. Regardless, just so you know though, you can 5 reviews from customers. You can always just get them from your friends or family, and they can vouch for the character of you and how you are as a person, not so much your service, right? Because I know someone's going to be like, oh, it's unethical. Like if you didn't actually give them a review. We're just trying to get approved here so we can start getting leads. All right. I trust everybody who's going to watch this and take action is a competent enough and good enough human being that, if your friends leave you a couple good reviews, it's no big deal, right? And this typically takes about 2 weeks to get verified. Now I've seen a lot faster, but typically what I've seen. Next that I would sign up for is Yelp. Obviously, you want to do the free listing. Like, no matter what area you're in any state, do the free listing just because Yelp's SEO is very strong. So if you can build a reputation on Yelp, that's going to help you with SEO. And when somebody clicks into Yelp for house cleaning services in your area and you show up number 1 organically, that looks very, very good. You should absolutely be running Yelp if you're in any of these 4 areas. And I mean, when I say running Yelp, I mean the ads. Okay. So this is California, Arizona, New York, Florida. I don't know what it is about these areas, but they crush it. As an example, when I was running Yelp ads for our company, Orange Window Cleaning, we don't really do that anymore just because we have the number 1 spot on Google. So we get so many free leads, we can't even handle them all. We're getting 20-1 return on ad spend, meaning every $1 I was putting in, I was getting $20 back. At Marion, my mom's house cleaning business, we've been getting as high as 16-1 return on our ad spend, meaning we put $1 in, we get $16 back. If you're not running Yelp ads in California, you are losing out on money. I would say make sure you have about 5 reviews though before you start running some ads, just because it's going to make you convert a lot better. And then same thing for the other 3, but California is just insane for Yelp. Now, if you're in any other state outside of these, I would recommend that for Thumbtack, Angie. I left out Home Advisor, Bark. Test out all these like lead generation, like home service platforms, just because, sometimes Thumbtack works in different areas. Angie, Bark works in different areas. Like, try them all, right? And spend a few $100s on each one, not at one time, but like one at a time. Okay. So like first I'm going to be testing Thumbtack. Okay. Thumbtack either works or doesn't. Okay, cool. Moving on to Angie, etc. Now, how I determine if it works or not is 3-1 return on our ad spend. Now, meaning you put $1 into the machine, you get $3 back. Okay. This has to do with your close rates and things of that sort. But why 3-1 is because it gives you enough money to 1, pay your customer acquisition cost, 2, pay your cleaner, and 3, still have profit left over. So you can actually, put some money in your pocket. Okay. And if you can get this or higher on smaller budgets, you're good to scale. Okay. That's paid. If you've got the budget, I recommend it. Like just get started. It's going to get the ball rolling. You start to stack up your recurring revenue. You start to get your first real reviews. And those are all really, really good things. Okay. Moving on to organic. Now, I like the grand opening method. This is a term that we coined and we invented. But basically what you're going to do with the grand opening method is find local Facebook groups, next door groups, and make an introduction post. And remember, people buy from people they like. So don't join these groups as a business. So if my name is ABC Cleaning, I'm not going to join as ABC Clean. I'm going to join as Johnny Robinson, because people buy from people. They don't buy from businesses. Sometimes I'll see these people like trolling around with like company accounts in these groups. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, nobody knows who you are. You know what I mean? You're just another company, and you're so obviously there to just try to get business. Okay. We got to play the game. All right. And so find these groups, make an introduction post, and, it's going to look something along the lines of like, hey, excited to be the part of the group. My name's Johnny Robinson. Thought I'd introduce myself. I moved to Las Vegas 8 months ago. I'm looking to make some more connections in the area, and I own a local house cleaning business, and, maybe posting some cleaning tips in here or asking for some recommendations on local areas, whatever. So be on the lookout for that. Insert photo of myself. Now, especially if you're married and you have children, or you have a dog or a couple dogs, like put like a very wholesome professional photo. Like if you have that, they just convert like freaking butter, especially if you got a kid or like a young kid. It just works so well. If you're a male and you have a girlfriend or a wife, definitely do that. Very, very nice photo, like wholesome photo of you two. We're trying to juice engagement here. Okay. Likes, comments, shares. Reason we want likes, comments, shares is because every single one of these interactions is now a lead. Okay. You can reach out to likes, comments, and shares. Okay. So every time I see one of those, I'm like, boom, that's a lead. And I'm saying, hey, Bob, I wanted to reach out and say thanks for liking my post. To say thank you. I wanted to just offer you $50 off your first house cleaning if you ever wanted to get your house clean. If not, no worries. We don't want to put too much pressure onto these people from the groups, because we don't want them going back and running to an admin and be like, hey, I saw you like my post. How long have you lived in blah, blah, blah for? And then you can make the conversation eventually about buying cleaning services from your business. Okay. As far as what to say on the sales calls, once we start getting the leads, I just gave you the script here. I'm not going to break this down. The script's very simple. We have people who they can hardly speak English. Actually, a great example in this screenshot right here, Kokoro Cleaning Service. There's a guy, his name's Akira. He owns that business. He's a Japanese guy from Japan. You can hardly understand what he's saying. Guy's doing like $50,000, $60,000 a month, has hundreds and hundreds of 5-star reviews. And he's absolutely killing it simply from following the script right here. So if you're someone watching this and you're worried about like, oh, well, what if I don't sound good on the phones? I'm not good at sales. Literally doesn't matter. Follow this script. You'll be fine. I'm not going to break it down in this because this video would be way too long. I have another video on it if you want to watch it, but it's you don't even need to. Just like read the damn script. Like read the words I teach you and you will make money. Okay. Now we're making money. Okay. All of that. Boom. Now we're like, got the cleaners. We got the leads. We're connecting the two. Boom, boom, boom. We got it set up. Now scaling the business. Before you do anything, right? Like if you're 10K a month, 20K a month, you're a home service business owner watching this, you're a cleaning business owner watching this, you don't even own a cleaning business. Never forget this. As you're growing the business, like you've made your first 5K, 10K, whatever. Okay. Now you got a good handle on the business. And now it's like, all right, let's try to grow this. The problems you're going to deal with when you're growing and scaling the business are much different than the problems when you're starting the business. And what you need to be aware of and understand and always identify and be on the lookout for is which of these 3 constraints is affecting your business. And again, when I made this last time, it was over 1,000, but now we're over 3,000 of these companies at this point. And it's always going to be one of these 3 things that is constraining you from growth. Okay. And if you solve these 3 things, you create a scalable and, more importantly, a sellable enterprise. First is going to be your closing average. On average, how many leads are you closing? This number should always be above 50% when you're closing bottom of the funnel leads. So all those advertising platforms I showed you, Google Local Service Ads, Yelp, Angie, Home Advisor, Bark, etc. These are what we call bottom of the funnel leads, meaning they're at the very, very bottom of the funnel. And that means they're easier to convert because they're already searching for cleaning services. If they're going to Yelp and looking for cleaners, they're going to Local Service Ads looking for cleaners, wherever there is that they're looking. The point is they're looking, meaning if you take one of those leads and you get them on the phone, you should be able to convert at least 1 in every 2, as opposed to something like Facebook where you can get a ton of leads, but they're on Facebook to check out what their nephew's doing, their nieces are doing, and you got to have an offer good enough to get them off of whatever they're doing to opt into your stuff. Okay. And you're also going to use this number to determine whether or not you should raise your price. And if it's lower than 50%, you're leaving money on the table. And I'm going to break this down for you. And again, this is going to be data based on the 3,000 businesses I've coached and built by this point. Let's say that you get 100 leads into your business in a month, right? Let's also say you're closing about 25%, meaning you land about 25 new customers on those 100 leads that you get into the business. And let's say they pay an average of $350. Okay. So $350 times 25, you landed $8,750 in new revenue. And that sounds great, right? Like, holy crap, yeah, I'd love to make $8,700 in new revenue. Now, this is not factoring in how much money you spent to get those, right? But it's not great. Is it better than zero? Yeah, of course. But if you look at the data, you should know it should be 50%. So let's use the same numbers. Only variable changing is your closing rate is at 50%. Instead of 25 new customers, you now have 50 new customers paying $350. That's 17,500 in new signed revenue, right? You just doubled your business by simply getting better at sales. More importantly, by measuring what needs to be measured. One of my favorite sayings in business is what isn't measured isn't managed. If you're not measuring something, you can never improve it. And people overlook close rate, but close rate has such a significant factor in how fast and how quickly you can grow and scale the business, especially as you're spending money on ads, because not only do you, obviously, if you double your close rate, you make more money, but you also have a stronger return on your ad spend, because if you're only closing 25% of your leads, I mean, your customer acquisition cost is going to go way higher. I'm going to break it down later. So this makes sense. But I highly recommend you do become good at sales. This way you can train your VA to do the same. When you do start to delegate those sales calls, it helps to be at least somewhat decent, so that it's easier to train, and it's also easier to understand, like, oh, hey, this, the VA is missing this or that, versus just like hiring one and hoping and praying that, like, hey, they're good. Then we get into provider pay. So paying cleaners adequately. And by adequately, I mean what's fair to the business and the cleaner, not overpaying the cleaner. And again, hiring providers is by far the most boring, grueling part of this business, but it's the most impactful, and the most successful cleaning business owners do this well. And screening cleaners every week, no matter what, no matter how good your cleaner lineup is key to this, right? The best sports teams have solid players that can come off the bench and put up points at any point in the game. Your cleaning business should be the same way. And the last position you want to be in is having to make a panic hire or skip a test clean or a background check just to send a cleaner out so you can service more work. Never, ever do that. It's always better to pull back, build a solid base of cleaners, and then, ramp up your marketing again. And again, never skip test cleans. Just as this is reminder stuff, really. Indeed's your best friend, right? 80-20 rule again. 20% of your cleaners are going to be good. 80% are going to suck. Your job is to find the 20%, and you only do this by screening your applicants every single week. And if for whatever reason you get banned on Indeed, just use the same approach for outreach on Facebook Nextdoor using cleaner lead generation posts. That's just going into local neighborhoods and being like, hey, does anyone have a good cleaner recommendation? Craigslist works, housekeeper.com, care.com, etc. You should treat recruiting cleaners the same as you do sales. Without your cleaners, it does not matter how many sales you make. Never forget that. Another one is number of leads. Maybe you're not getting enough leads. Okay. Google LSA is obviously bare minimum, very low hanging fruit. It's not the only way to get leads. And if you believe this, then you should stop, because that belief is not serving your business. There's a lot of people who get in here or start a cleaning business or started a cleaning business in the heyday of local service ads, and they're like, oh, it's not working anymore. I can't get leads. There's a bajillion ways to get leads, guys. Okay. Switch it up a little bit. You should have an organic strategy. If you're going to be running ads, you should always be pairing this with an organic strategy, because it lowers your CPA. Okay. I already went over the grand opening method with you, but what is CPA? CPA is cost per acquisition. How much does it take for you to get a customer? Okay. You're going to calculate this by number of leads divided by number of people who close. That's it. So if you have 10 leads, 5 people close, and each lead is, say, $10, you're about $20 CPA, right? And if you're getting $20 CPAs, that's amazing, right? Because your CPA or your average collected on a clean should be 3 times what your CPA is to be very profitable. You can do outbound sales, right? D7 Lead Finder is a basic tool you can use to pull lead lists in any type of commercial property industry you want to go after, from property managers, apartment buildings, resorts, hotels, schools, home builders. So you can get construction cleanups, offices, realtors, short-term rental management, you name it. D7 Lead Finder can do that. And I think the basic plan starts at like $19 a month. It's super cheap. Not affiliated with them at all. Don't even have a deal. So just Google D7 Lead Finder and sign up and pull a list. And when you pair outbound with local service ads and the grand opening method / call it organic, you're going to have no problem making sales. And is it easy? No, it's not easy. There's no such thing as an easy business. At least in my experience. They're simple businesses, but there's always some, I call it a pit factor, a pain in the ass factor. And cold outreach is also grueling and sometimes can take a lot of reps. But again, business is hard, and this is what you signed up for. So do you want to scale your business, or do you not? When you're landing commercial jobs too, just be careful of net 30 or net terms in general. Always negotiate this. What that means, if you're unfamiliar, is just if you land a commercial job and they say, okay, we'll pay you net 30, that means you might have 2 weeks worth of work. And once you're done, you send them the invoice. That means they have 30 days to pay it. And don't think it means, oh, they'll pay it sooner. No, they're going to pay on day 30. Like, don't get it twisted. So negotiate that down, because if you don't, well, you're going to be fronting payroll for 30 days before you get paid for that job. And that just like slows down cash conversion. I hate it. Okay. So always negotiate this, and never deliver a quote proposal by email without calling. Always prep the quote, call a decision maker, and then when they answer, hit send. Little hack that. It's helped out. CAC to LTV. So customer acquisition cost to lifetime value of your customer. When you're running ads, you might get leads for like $30, $40. I've seen as high as $80, $90. Okay. And with any paid ad platform, when more people get into a space or start to use that platform in a certain industry, lead costs are going to rise, right? Like the cost of Facebook ads goes up every single year. Okay. You got to get new and creative with how you run them. But to this day, they work, right? And so lead costs will rise as people start to catch on. And I'm sure you've seen this with Google LSA. Good news is, if you understand CAC to LTV, then this doesn't impact you nearly as much. So let's do some math so this makes sense. Let's say you generate $10 lead, 10 leads at $50 a piece, right? Sounds high. Okay. Looking at it, if you see $50 per lead, your dashboard, like, holy shit, that's expensive, right? Well, let's say you close 50% of them. It means you paid $100 to acquire each customer, right? Cost per acquisition. That is your CPA. Okay. Or customer acquisition cost. They're kind of intertwined. CAC just focuses on like adding in your sales rep commissions too, but most of you won't have that. So CPA, CAC in a cleaning business is mostly the same. But let's say you then quote each of those the jobs that you book for $100 each, $350. After paying your cleaners, you're left with only $75. Now, how does this make sense? Okay. $350 for the clean. You paid $100 to get the customer. You have to pay your cleaner 50%, right? And again, if you start at 40, see, this jumps up by a lot, but $350 for the clean, $100 CAC, cleaner pay is $175 or 50%. That means you're left with $75, 21% profit margin on $50 lead costs. It's pretty freaking good. All right. However, you might be thinking, well, I thought you said 30, 40%. Well, if that case, yeah, 21% is terrible. However, this is where LTV comes in. The average customer in house cleaning has about a $2,000 to $4,000 LTV as long as you don't screw up that first clean, meaning a customer is worth on the higher end $4,000 to you. You have to remember, buildings get dirty over and over and over again, and you're doing a crucial disservice not remarketing or calling your old customers. The best customer is somebody who has already taken out their card and paid you money. Okay. It's so much easier to sell that person again on a recurring clean as opposed to going out and finding a new one. Right. And you're going to want to set up text and email automations to follow up with them at least once per month, and set reminders to call them every 2 to 3 weeks. The cool part about this with CleanWorks, we've built this for you. You don't have to worry about it. You just sign up for CleanWorks and take care of it. Pretty dang cool. And the best part, after you set all this up, it can all be passed off to your VA. So you don't have to worry about it. Okay. That's how we build a business that runs without you. Okay. Got all that sorted. Now we move on to brand. Brand is so important. Okay. Always do the basics of home service and cleaning in general. Asking for the reviews verbally on top of your review links that are being sent out via text and email. Now, CleanWorks also does this for you, but on top of CleanWorks doing it for you and building a reputation, you want to call the customer after the cleaning's done and say, hey, how was it? Or you're happy? It was great. Awesome. You want to book recurring? Boom. Also ask for the review. Now, if you're ever going to be late, just make sure that's communicated. Okay. Like, people are so chill about this. You'd be very surprised. It was like a big fear of mine, like being late. And it's like, as long as they're in the loop and communicated with, like, hey, I'm running a little bit behind. I'll be there in about 20 minutes. Just want to let you know. Then they're going to be cool. You can also use arrival windows. Like, so for the first job of the day, I'm always using an hour arrival window. So we'd say we'll be there between 8 and 9 a.m. And then for every subsequent job, if it's a second job on the book, third job on the book, I'm using 2-hour arrival windows. So if I have my first job with an arrival window of 8 to 9 a.m., that's going to take me about 2 hours. Well, I'm going to say, hey, I'll be at the next job between 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. That makes sense? Right? Just to set expectations and not have to worry about that. On top of getting reviews, you also want to get referrals or even better testimonials, right? So I call this marketing collateral: reviews, recurring, and referrals. Ooh, the triple R. I just came up with that right now. Yeah. Reviews, recurring, referrals. Now, if somebody's not going to book recurring, I at least want to get a review and I at least want to get a referral. Best is all three, but I want some form of collateral for spending money to get you, if that makes sense, right? So marketing collateral, reviews, recurring, referrals. Okay. Now, or testimonials are going to go into local Facebook and Nextdoor groups. And if you get enough testimonials, I call this like referrals at scale. So like you're going to get people who are being referred within the local Facebook group. And I'll explain what this means. Like it's kind of confusing. The more and more people that see basically that their neighbors are posting about how great your service is, the more customers from that group you'll attract, right? And the best part, referrals are going to pay more on average than any other mode of acquiring customers. As an example, our average window cleaning job from Yelp ads would pay about $350. Our average from referrals would pay about $450. It's pretty crazy. And just make sure that you're following up with every single person via text and email to get those things right. Reviews, referrals, recurring. Okay. And you can use CleanWorks to automate all that. Reputation marketing is also really important. Okay. This is the gift that keeps on giving. I call it the snowball effect. Like basically how you win long-term in cleaning or any home service business you'll ever start in your life is by building a great reputation in your local area. Now, like if you were to Google window cleaning Orange County as an example, like we're going to show up number one on Yelp and number one on Google, which is pretty freaking cool. Like, you know how many leads that's going to send us simply from just doing the basics of asking for reviews from every single person that we service? Is every single person going to leave a review? No. But over time, you're going to dominate your local area. And having a good reputation in your local market will allow you to command the highest prices. And people understand for the most part that you get what you pay for, right? And so if you see 400 5-star reviews and you drop, $400 as a price for, a smaller house, like to anybody else, they're going to be like, oh, it's too expensive. But it's like, well, hey, I have 400 5-star reviews. Like if you don't want to do it, like you can go somewhere else. Right. Not only that, but it's going to help you with your SEO. Right. So I think when Google, like when someone Googles cleaning near me, if you can show up on the Google My Business 3-pack, you will get customers for free. Okay. And there's nothing better than getting customers for free. Right. And so to show you what this looks like we built a really solid reputation on Yelp. And so we ranked number one on Yelp. We ranked number one on, I'll actually just show you if I go window cleaning Orange County, you can see right here, other than the sponsored, we're number one, 340. And then right under Yelp, we're the first ranking. So you can imagine how many leads we get being in such a competitive market. Now you might come to a point where it gets into quote unquote slow season. Now, cool thing about cleaning is it is indoor, so you don't really deal with slow season as much as some other home services out there, but you will still feel it a little bit. And when things start to slow down from your advertising channels or organic, you need to be in control of your lead flow. What do I mean by this? If you're relying on bottom of the funnel advertising methods, something where there's inventory, right? There's a certain number of people searching on LSA. There's a certain number of people searching on Yelp and Thumbtack. And when you have, call it, half of the people searching during a slower time, that means the inventory is halved. If you're relying on inventory, you're going to have a hard time. Maybe you pay more in leads. Maybe, your lead flow is not quite there because the leads are getting dished out to your competitors. You want to switch out to top of funnel methods, right? Things like doing outreach yourself to local home builders so you can get more construction cleanups, property manager, short-term rentals. So you're landing, turnovers because maybe it's vacation season during like the quote unquote slow season. So you need to target a different market, maybe outside of residential. Okay. Go after commercial because it's, no matter if it's raining or it's snowing, like the indoor of that building is going to get clean because you have a contract. Okay. So just switching up which markets you're targeting, but also the method of which you're looking for those leads on. And so the best top of funnel advertising method is Facebook because you can control the amount of eyeballs seeing your offer versus being reliant on search inventory. Very cool. However, when you do run Facebook ads, which in CleanWorks, we do have some pre-built stuff built in, so you could just like click turn on and start running the ads. But you do need a different sales process for the Facebook ads. And so I included that in this doc in here. I'm not going to go through this because again, this video would be 10 hours long. But that training is included for you for free. So just check that out. Also too, building up your recurring base of customers and nurturing and marketing and offering for different, holidays and seasons that you're in, right? And so, I would go through a whole training on how to nurture clients to get more recurring, but we just did this for you via CleanWorks. So again, I'll include that link in the description and it's at the top of this training as well. You want to be emailing your list at least once per week to stay top of mind. Because again, like think about it. Let's say you service somebody. Well, I'm filming this in October. Let's say I service someone in May and they didn't convert to recurring, but they were really happy and they're just like, hey, I need this one clean. I don't really want to get on the books. I don't want to, do weekly or bi-weekly or monthly. And let's say I email them for like, hey, spooky special Halloween. And they're like, oh, you know what? My place is pretty filthy right now. And they did a great job. You just reactivated that customer, right? And like if you got their name, email, phone number, that is valuable. And you should be touching base with them again, via all avenues, at least once per week or very minimum once per month. And yeah, like I said, sending out offers specifically around every holiday. So if it's Halloween, spooky special, Thanksgiving, Christmas, like now is a perfect time. But like, even if it's like National Boyfriend Day, right? Like if you just Google what is today's national day, there's a national day for something. You can get creative with it and finding an excuse to create an offer. And I do have a whole training on re-engaging leads. So you can, basically a standard operating procedure you can just copy. So that's included in there for you as well. Reputation marketing, again, we do this with CleanWorks, but just making sure you're asking for reviews as a reminder. These testimonials inside Facebook, this is what this looks like. So like this woman said, I wanted to give a shout out to Orange Window Cleaning, a small locally owned business, for doing a great job on our windows today. The windows were filthy and they left them sparkling clean. Even my kitty is a fan. And if you're needing your windows done, these guys were on time and had a very reasonable price. And there's a picture of me, and that's Victor. Shout out Victor. But this is what a testimonial looks like. This is so good because it's like such huge social proof for your business. And when a neighbor sees it, they're like, oh, wow, like, I want to use this company, right? And so you see there's 56 likes and 7 comments. And I'm reaching out to everyone that likes or engages with a testimonial posted inside a Facebook or Nextdoor group. So if I'm looking at my calendar, I'm like, damn, I really need some jobs. I'm going to get one of my best customers to go do something like this in one of these Facebook groups, because you will get jobs. And then you get the keeping up with the Joneses effect, right? Because it's like, oh, well, this lady's name is Claudia. So it's like, Claudia really likes this person. Let me see what all the hype's about. And then you get that person to post. And then you service a person from that post. And then you get them to post. And then you see how it's an effect and like can really generate you a ton of business. And, people are going to search this group too for let's see what everybody's using for house cleaning. Let's see what everybody's using for window cleaning. And if they just see you being spammed, like they're going to use you. That is basically what to do when it's slow. Now, how to delegate sales to a virtual assistant, because eventually you're going to have to free up some of your time. Now, I would say you can probably get away with like $50,000, $60,000 of revenue answering all the calls yourself. I've seen it all the way up to 100. But if you do want to start to delegate to a virtual assistant, I'm going to cover the importance of managing / leading your VA, all of the responsibilities required, breaking these down into different categories, and then the path to getting your VA to close 50 to 60% of the calls just like you do. Now, something to understand, I see way too many people complain when they get to this point where it's like, oh, my VA sucks. Most of the time, your VA doesn't really suck. It's probably just your management and leadership process. And a good reminder is that your team and VA will never exceed the level in which they are led. And you have to face this reality. Okay. Trying to have the benefits of someone taking your sales calls without the necessary work required to get it working is a recipe for disaster. So the question is, how do you lead your team? We lead them through inputs, and think of inputs like feedback, right? We want a strong and rapid feedback loop. Okay. We break these down into 2 types of feedback, right? Quantitative and qualitative. Okay. Quantitative is your data. Okay. I made a tracker for you here. So, as you can see, like tracks everything from book revenue, incoming calls, closed deals, revenue booked, total revenue. You freaking name it. This is here. It's got their end of day reports built in, which I'm going to explain in a second, but this tracks everything. Okay. And the biggest things you want to look for here is basically close rate. Like I said, close rate. You want percentage of jobs converted to recurring and churn. If your percentage of jobs converted to recurring is outpacing your churn, you're always going to grow. No matter what, you're always going to grow. So those are core numbers to track, because you always that's how you make your money, by converting to recurring. Okay. Again, reviews collected, total jobs completed. If they're doing outbound, cold email set, like everything is here that you need. Your VA can just sit in here and you'll be able to get a very good quantitative overview of what the heck is going on in your business. Okay. This is for free. Now, qualitative. This is essentially just effective sales management and leadership. Okay. And we break this down into 5 key things. Really, it's 4 key things. This is just a method of communication. I like Slack for communication. Some people use Discord. Just use what you want. Daily huddles. Okay. I'm kicking off every day, 8 a.m., 8:30, 9 a.m., whatever time your start time is, with a daily 15-minute huddle. And this is just, hey, what's going on? What are you working on today? Who do you have that you got to follow up with? What are we projecting? How many cleans do we have on the books? Is there anybody that reached out overnight that we need to get back to that is unhappy or unsatisfied, or any fires we need to put out, right? This quick 15 minutes touch base. This is the start of the day every single day. Another one is end of day reports. Now I included a template for your end of day reports down here. So you can just copy that, but you're going to basically just have a channel in your Slack or Discord that is called end of day report. And they're going to fill out that form every single day. And you're going to read that form and respond to it every single day, giving feedback and reinforcing good behaviors. So that's very important. Okay. So one-to-one calls, you're going to have these every week, once a week, 30 minutes a piece, and you're going to structure them first with, you're going to go over their results, right? Whatever you're tracking as far as what their KPIs are. Typically, this is going to look like new booked revenue, close rates, things like that. Now, if I look at their performance and it's lacking, I'm then going to move to, okay, well, what's going on, right? Why is performance lacking? Well, this and that, whatever, they start blaming. Okay. Well, then I'm going to go to activity. Okay. What are you doing on a daily basis? Right. Lots of the time though, you're going to be able to fix the lack of performance in call reviews, which most people don't do. You're basically going to watch and listen to a lot of the sales calls that they're taking. And then you're going to record a loom, giving them feedback on one thing every week that they need to improve upon, right? And so maybe it's like they're forgetting one question. Well, I'm going to make sure they're asking that one question every time. And then I'm going to listen that week. Are they fixing that? If they're fixing that, okay, cool, awesome. We can move on to another piece. Call review should be structured about 20% constructive criticism, 80% reinforcing good behaviors. Okay, you don't want to just make a call review and just berate like your VA. Like, don't do that. 80% positive reinforcement, 20% constructive criticism. I basically broke down daily huddles, one-to-one calls. I forgot I had this right here. I would have scrolled down. That's my bad, guys. But end of day reports. Yeah, I mean, I basically got it all right here. So as long as you implement this, you can pretty much take anybody as long as they're just not super incompetent and get them to 50, 60% closing. Okay, it's very simple. It sounds like kind of a lot if you're just like, oh, wow, that sounds like a lot of work. Not really. So implement that. And if you implement this and they still suck and you're doing all of this, then you can fire them and find a new one. Okay. Here's your end of day report templates. So there you go. But basically, if you do all of that and implement all of those best practices, then you will grow a very, very big cleaning company. I hope this was helpful, guys. If you like that, you'll definitely like working with us one-on-one, where we roll up our sleeves and help you build a cleaning business, or better yet, help you grow and scale a cleaning business. So if you're looking to do that and you need help and you want to start one on the side of your 9-to-5, or you want to grow your existing one, then click the link to book a call. It's going to go to CleanWorks. We'll tell you about everything that we do, from building your website, setting up CleanWorks, one-on-one coaching. We have our own proprietary lead tools that I haven't told you about too. Click that link and see what it's like to work with this one-on-one. And on top of this, guys, if you want this document that I put together, it's completely free. All you need to do to get it is just DM me on Instagram, free course, and I'll send it to you, right? It's at Johnny, the CEO. I'll put that in my description as well. That being said, if you have any questions, comment. Let me know if you have any questions. And if you haven't, hit like, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. And I hope you guys take this, execute on it, and make a ton of money. Peace.